does a great job as an ESPN NBA analyst. He is Tim Legler. Hit him on Twitter at LegsESPN. And Tim, I mentioned those two guys. Anthony Davis out multiple weeks with the foot injury for the Lakers, and Steph Curry out multiple weeks with a shoulder injury for the Golden State Warriors. Which injury is more costly to which team? AD to the Lakers or Steph to Golden State?
Well, I actually would say AD to the Lakers, Freddie, and I know that might be surprising because of the trouble that the Lakers have had pretty much from the get-go ever since they won that championship in the bubble. It's just been one thing after another. But when you look at the way they sort of turned things around playing through Anthony Davis, he had a stretch of health along the way this season that they made him the focal point of what they were going to do offensively. And it completely turned around their offense. And as a result, they won some games. Their morale picked up. Their confidence was better. I thought they were playing harder. It seemed like Russell Westbrook finally looks comfortable in his role. Without Anthony Davis and what you're going to have to ask some other guys to do in his place, I just don't think there's any way to replicate it. And so now you have a team that was obviously dug a big hole at the beginning of the year. They righted the ship. It looked like they were now going to be a relevant factor, at least in the West. I think that's going to be difficult to pull off depending on how long he ends up being out. In the case of Steph Curry, as critical as he is, obviously, they do have Jordan Poole. They do have some guys that can play similar to the way Steph plays, and they've got, I think, other weapons that they utilize in terms of not having one guy be the focal point night in and night out. It's more about ball movement, cutting, screening, spacing, and the way that they play and the style of play isn't going to change. So I actually think the Lakers have a bigger problem playing without a guy that really became their identity offensively.
Damian Lillard entered Monday's game against the Oklahoma City Thunder 20 career points away from Clyde Drexler's all-time record with the Portland Trailblazers, 18,040. The moment was really cool when the crowd inside Moda Center paused to give Damian Lillard his moment when he got to 18,041. Can we just talk about how rare this is, though, in today's NBA legs? Because assuming Lillard remains in Portland, there are plenty other Clyde Drexler records that he's going to pass, and he's played 138 fewer games in roughly 33,000 fewer minutes. Most times we see player movement in the NBA that prevents these sort of team records from being broken.
No, you're 100% right, Courtney. That's a great point. And, you know, that player, that type of player, I think is a bygone now in the NBA. There are going to be some exceptions, and I think it's some guys that are probably in their 30s right now that may end up staying with the team that they've been with their entire career and that are Hall of Fame players. You know, Lillard may be an example. I'm still not 100% sure he'll be there his entire career, but he is 32 years old. He's played 730 games in Portland. So it starts to get to the point where you think, you know, and he has made comments to say, hey, you know what, he's not chasing. He's happy and comfortable where he is. So he might be that rare exception. Obviously, I don't think anybody could envision Steph Curry ever putting another uniform on.
Right.
So he's probably in that category, a guy in his 30s that's been one team his whole career and is a Hall of Famer. But for the most part, you're 100% right. We're not going to see that anymore. I think even the way guys think when they come into the league now, a lot of times they're already thinking about their next stop, you know, after their fourth year with the team that drafted them. And a lot of that has to do with, I think, the culture they grew up in, where you could bounce around and play on 4 different high school teams if you want to. You could play on, 5, 6 different AAU teams. I mean, when I was coaching on the AAU circuit, I saw some elite-level players 3 different times in the same AAU season on 3 different teams. So, look at the Division I transfer epidemic that we have. 1,200 guys in the transfer portal. It's just the mindset has changed. And you go find what it is you're looking for. So it's very, very rare. We need to appreciate these guys that stay with one franchise their entire career. I think it's something that's really special, unique, and rare. And unfortunately, it's a dying breed.
Tim Legler, ESPN NBA analyst, hit him on Twitter, Legs ESPN, joining Freddie Coleman and Courtney Cronin on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max and ESPN Radio. 2 guys I believe will stay with their franchises are Giannis Antetokounmpo with Milwaukee and Jason Tatum with the Boston Celtics. Both of those 2 teams have the best record in the NBA. Bucks at 22-8, Celtics at 22-9. Right now, Tim, who's the better team?
Well, Boston's been the best team in the league all year, but I think that's starting to change. I think Milwaukee now is looking them dead in the eye, and you can even make a case that they're the better team right now. And I was watching Milwaukee last night against the Pelicans, and it struck me that I don't know if we give them enough credit for how deep that team is. And we know about Giannis and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and the guys that that run that thing at the top. But when you start getting down and look at the contributions of Brook Lopez, of what Bobby Portis brings as a sixth man, he didn't even play last night. What a guy like Joe Ingles is going to bring now that he played his first game in almost a year last night. It's going to take him some time to get comfortable, but he's not a guy that relies on athletic ability to come back from that knee injury. He's a guy that is going to be able to contribute quickly. He's got an incredible IQ. He moves the ball. He's going to make everybody better with his passing. You look at a guy like Javon Carter, who is now coming to his own, who's getting big minutes for them. So up and down that roster, Pat Connaughton, they are so deep, and they can beat you so many different ways that I think now I'm looking at Milwaukee, and once Chris Middleton finds himself and he rounds out into form and he reverts to all-star caliber form, I think Milwaukee has a great chance to win the Eastern Conference. And it looked like Boston was head and shoulders above everybody else in the East even a couple of weeks ago. I think that's changed here lately. I picked the Bucks to go to the finals before the season. Boston really had me rethinking that, the way that they were playing. But now I see the Bucks, kind of being the team that I thought they would be.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.